Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan, and I'm joined by Steph and Nikki from Game Till 5. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having us back.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for coming back. I was really glad when Mass Effect 2 became something I wanted to play. I was like, I've got to get Steph and Nikki on for this because I know you two love this series, so I'm really glad we get to be here to talk about this game.
We do, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we stop talking about it quite often, so that's fair.
That's true. For a while, it was a pretty regular occurrence in top fives. Mass Effect was definitely part of it, and there is a lot to bring in. I mean, so it makes sense that it would make a lot of different top fives, a character or different things like that. If you don't know Steph and Nikki, they've been on the podcast a couple times. Last year, they came on for Plague Tale, did Beyond Two Souls, Ethan Carter. So we've done a couple things, but yeah, we're here, as said, to talk about Mass Effect 2. However, if you don't know about their podcast more, why don't you tell them about what you do over there?
Yeah, so we're a video game podcast. We focus on top fives in video game topics. So literally we just think of our top 5 things of any video game and just make a list about it. We have actually done a top 5 Mass Effect companion episode as well, actually, or squad members. So that's relative. But yeah, we literally just have a chat.
Yeah.
About video games. Make lists.
In list form.
Yeah.
We love a list.
Yes. Yeah, a list with facts, which is great. So much fun, for sure. I'm eager to listen to those Mass Effect ones once I play Mass Effect 3. Because then I feel like I will be able to go in without fear of learning something I don't know yet. So
they might be a bit spoiler heavy.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's rare on our podcast that we avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's what I figured, especially before now playing only the first one. So I was like, I'll wait, and then when it's time, I'm gonna love it. So
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to that day. Yeah, I guess with that, you can jump into some Mass Effect 2. So a description I've got for us here is recruit, explore, control. 2 years after Commander Shepard repelled the Reapers bent on destruction of organic life, a mysterious new enemy has emerged. On the fringes of known space, something is silently abducting entire human colonies. And then a little background on the game is it was developed by BioWare, who of course is known for the Mass Effect series, the Dragon Age series. They made Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. So really, yeah, this is their jam for sure. And of course Mass Effect 2 being probably their most famous game, or one of the most. Now, I guess before we get into kind of spoiler territory, I wanted to give a spot for non-spoilers where we could maybe share things about the game. If, I don't know, if somehow you're here, you've never played any Mass Effect game, and you're curious, is this for me? Hopefully we can share some thoughts on that. So one thing for me was I like this a lot more than Mass Effect 1 when it came to gameplay and controls and whatnot. In fairness, I will say I played Mass Effect 1 on PS3, and my PS3 was struggling. This, for 2, I did play the Legendary Edition on PS5. So, I will say that some of that might be truly the upgrade from 1 to 2. Some of it might be because I'm on a way better console. I'm not 100%. It felt way better. I enjoyed, the, travel mechanics and shooting a lot more. So that was one thing that stood out to me about Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, agreed. I think 2, generally, if you play the old ones, 2 feels way more polished than the first one. But I think in the Legendary one, they've redone the controls of the first one to match the second one, if I remember that correctly, from when they did the remaster of number 1. So it does play better now if you go and play from the Legendary one. But if you pick up an old version, yeah, it feels way more clunky. This one feels a lot more polished.
That's good to know. I'm glad to hear they upgraded the controls for the first one on the Legacy or Legendary. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a common complaint that the first one felt clunky.
Yeah, for sure. I think I do love the first one, but going back and playing it sort of back in the day reminded me why the second and third one is so much better. They just sort of really mastered it, whereas I think the first one was just a real trial and error.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because when I played the first one, I was like, I like the story. I'm interested in this universe, all of that stuff. But playing it, especially when I was doing the Mako and stuff on the first one, I was like, I'm like making myself play that section because I was just annoyed back then. But I don't know. I guess that's early PS3. It makes sense that it would have been messed up back then. And, just getting to see that sort of change here. So, yeah, totally. That's something I like. Another thing I like in this game is I like the variety of your new and old characters. So you get some friends from Mass Effect 1 coming back. You make some new ones here. And I think just kind of overall, I haven't played a lot of games that have parties, but like I played like Outer Worlds or the first Mass Effect or whatever. But this game, I feel like, is maybe the best party that I've played, where your squad members, they're all pretty interesting. You get to bring in a lot, and I think that a lot was added. It's like, I don't know, I think it really worked here in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, I'd say BioWare in general know how to make a good collection of stuff, like of people to carry with you.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Age, they do it pretty well, but I think like obviously Dragon Age came out after Mass Effect, right?
Yes.
So I think they took a bit from what they've kind of mastered in number 2.
I think as well they really nailed the like companion quests, like loyalty side quests as well for this game in particular. I think I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I agree. I thought when I got to that section, it didn't feel like chores at all. They felt unique. You were getting something interesting about them or their backstory or, I don't know, all of that stuff. And got you to spend time with them. I don't know if you feel this with the party system, but when I was going, I was like, I really wish I could bring a third person because, like, partway through the game, I got to a spot where I was like, I kind of want to just take 2 people with me the whole time, and I wish I could have a third. I don't know if you felt that tension playing this, or I guess BioWare in general, probably.
Yeah, I tended to find I wanted to bring all my favorites with me all the time, and especially in this one, I found like it was more difficult to choose between people because of more people I wanted rather than I think in the first one there's a couple you kind of clutch onto, and they're the ones you have all the time. Whereas this one, it felt like, oh, I want to take this person, then I want to take this person. Like, just felt like you had so much choice. So you were like, oh, can I just take my whole entire like ship with me? Yeah.
Right, we'll rent a van. Let's all go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were 2 of my kind of non-spoiler thoughts. I don't know if either of you had other non-spoiler thoughts kind of about Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of preferred the story a little bit in this one. I think we've kind of gone over a lot of it. The combat in general, I think, was so much better. Just generally, I think I'd say to anyone that's played Mass Effect 1 and hasn't played 2, like, it or is thinking about it, just know that it gets better. It gets better than 1. Like, just hold out, and 2 definitely delivers.
Yeah, agreed. I think similarly with the story, without getting into it just yet, like, it definitely feels like it kicks up a notch in this one. Like, so where the first one feels a bit, not, like, boring at any time, it just feels very, like, small scale. This one definitely feels like it starts becoming more intense, I think, in general, which is cool.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the first one, which I don't know, maybe this isn't fair, but the first one to me feels like it's sort of like Star Wars A New Hope. Like, you need it because it sets everything else up. But, when you look at the original Star Wars, it's like Empire and Return of the Jedi are definitely way cooler. Like, those are the movies I most want to watch, but you have to have the first one. And I feel like that's what it feels like with Mass Effect. You needed the first one to come before this, but then this lets, 2 go off and shine and do its thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds very accurate.
Does anyone else have other things they'd want to talk about in non-spoilers before we kind of move into spoiler territory?
I think that covers everything without starting to get more in depth into different little bits and bobs.
Perfect. Sounds good. Okay, so if you haven't played this or you care about spoilers, drop off now. This is kind of where we'll enter into spoiler territory for Mass Effect 2. Now, listeners may recognize that we've done Mass Effect 1, but I mentioned earlier, I played that on PS3, and it was before COVID, so it was really a long, long time ago. And being pretty disconnected from the game, I decided I wanted to start fresh with Mass Effect 2, with the Legendary Edition, all of that, new console, new everything. So I decided to retcon some of my choices from Mass Effect 1. I feel like being removed from it, being able to kind of see all of that. So I kept some of the choices the same, but I changed a few of them. So I wanted to do a quick rundown of kind of where I'm at there, I guess, because as we all know, the choices in these games really matter. So, this is the stuff I'm coming in with. So, first thing, Rex, he died in my Mass Effect 1 playthrough, and I thought that was pretty powerful and good. So, I kept him dead. Even though I liked Rex and thought he was awesome, that was an impactful moment for me in Mass Effect 1, so Rex is still dead.
I'm very upset about this.
Yeah, I can't believe you've done this.
I don't even remember how you kill Rex.
I think you get the option to, like, snipe him at some point
So
while he's just chilling out by a river.
He at least where he got killed when I played was when there's, like, the fake Geniflage Krogan or whatever, and he wants to do something about it, and you're like, no, we need to do the mission or whatever, and there's kind of an argument there.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember.
And he, rages out and wants to, like, kill you.
Yeah.
And so you're like, I guess I have to kill you. I don't want to because I like you, but he was, like, just seeing red kind of thing.
I think it's Ashley that does it, which rubs even more salt into the wound.
Oh, I think you're right. Ashley does it. Because I think I, like, tried to not shoot him, and then she did it. And you're like, ugh. Yeah, not great. So then also, last time I romanced Ashley. This time I decided to romance no one, and for Mass Effect 1, to kind of start on a clean slate with 2. I was like, I want to kind of start over and, I don't know, see what Mass Effect 2 and 3 bring. So I decided to have no romance option for the first one. And then previously also, I had let Caden die at the spot where you have to leave someone behind to be able to escape. And I swapped that, and I decided to let Ashley die there and see what Caden's story will bring kind of in the future.
Correct decision.
Correct decision. That's good. When I meet Caden in this one, I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe I should have swapped it. I don't know. So that's good to hear.
Yeah. We don't like Ashley.
Yeah, she kind of sucks. Yeah, for sure. And then last thing from the previous game was before I let the council die and named Captain Anderson as the head of the council, and I stuck with that move. I thought that was the right thing at the time then, and still thought so now. So
yeah, I think I did the same. I don't like the council.
I don't like the council, but I was trying to be goody two-shoes all the time, so I let them, saved them, and then I didn't even put Captain Anderson as, like, main person. I think I put Udina as thing, because Captain Anderson doesn't really want to be the leader of the human. I think he's always a bit reluctant. He's like, I don't think I'm the best person for the job, and I'm like, I like you, Anderson. I'm not going to make you do a thing you don't want to do. Yeah. So I had Udina, even though I hate Udina. But yeah, I had opposite.
That makes sense though. I put Anderson there because I was like, since he didn't want the job, I was like, I feel like you're the right guy. Versus Udina felt so slimy. That was my thought.
He is the worst, and I always feel really weird about making that decision. But I don't know.
That's fair.
I think I was just like, I like Anderson. I don't want to make him live with the stupid council.
Yeah, I felt bad when I went and saw him later in this. He just is like, ugh, I hate this job. And you're like, my bad. Yeah, I think that's the sign of the best decisions in these games too, is when they're hard like that. We're like, ugh, I don't like either option, or they're hard. I feel like that's where they really nail it. Is when you feel that way, I'm like, that's a good decision.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of bringing us up to speed for Mass Effect 2, and then kind of last thing that's important before actually jumping into the story is the who's who. Of course, Mass Effect has a ton of characters. As we mentioned, there's a big party. So you have a lot of potential squad members, all of that. So kind of a quick rundown we've got here. We've got Miranda Lawson. She's a Cerberus operative. She also is a human, but basically has like enhancements to give her biotic powers. And then you've got Jacob Taylor. He's also Cerberus operative. And he's a biotic. So kind of like an android, basically. Is that right?
I think so. I never remember the biotics. Or is that more like Jack, where they're just kind of a bit enhanced?
Yeah, I think they're just like enhanced.
Okay, so
really.
So Jack is also like Miranda and Jacob. I couldn't tell if Jack was something a little separate or not.
I think she was like engineered by someone, wasn't she? Well, she was like, she's a human, but I think she was in like a lab or something, like growing up, and she they kind of maybe enhanced her a bit more. So
yeah, I think she's like an extreme version of that. I think like normally you just get like kind of like I think Shepard can use obviously the little biotics, and she can do like little bits.
Yeah.
But it's not like
I think
super.
Jack was like souped up.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That she's just like extra enhanced. So Jack, similar to both of them, but even more so. You've got Garrus Vakarian. He's a Turian bounty hunter. We also know him from Mass Effect 1. Also returning from Mass Effect 1 is Talizora Vasnima. She's a Quarian who was also part of our party last time. You've got Grunt, who's a Krogan super soldier. We've got Legion, who's a Geth mobile platform. You got Morden Solus, who's a Solarian scientist. This one, you can have Samara or Morinth. Either way, Asari Justicar, which is, I don't know, kind of a... They seem almost like a Spectre for the Asari, in a sense. I don't know if that's right, but they seem to be sort of set apart, and the Asari sort of revere and don't like them.
Yeah, I don't really know how to describe the Justicars.
Yeah, it's all like, I find all of that quite confusing, especially even with just the Asari stuff. Like, they have such an interesting kind of society. Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, they have their own hierarchy, but you're right. They're kind of like high-level Asari, but not really. They're kind of like almost like bounty hunters, but not. Like, but they're not really used for that reason. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that there's a lot of like, I don't know, reverence and fear, but disdain. Like it's sort of a weird how they take them in. I don't know. The last couple of people we've got Thane Krios. He's a Drell assassin. You've got Kasumi Goto. She's a human who's a thief, like a super thief. And then Zaid Masani, who's also another human who's a bounty hunter. So these are your potential squad members. So you have a pretty large squad. And then outside of that, there are some other kind of notable characters. So Liara Tassoni returning from Mass Effect 1. Joker Moreau, your pilot, voiced by Seth Green from Mass Effect 1 also. You've got the Elusive Man, who's basically your boss at this point, sort of. He brings you back. He's the head of Cerberus, voiced by Martin Sheen. You've got Edie, who is the ship's AI, who also your dog is named after, so exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting there. Yeah, I think that's, I would say, largely the who's who. Is there anyone I kind of missed who you think are worth bringing up?
I think you covered.
Yeah, I think they're all like the main characters. Yeah. Everyone else is just tiny side people that you meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, there are other people that you do meet along the way, but really, yeah, I feel like, as you said, they're pretty side. But yeah, the world is full of people here. So I guess with all of these people in mind, who are your favorite squad members? Who do you like the most?
My favorite is Garrus, obviously, and but I think for me, most, if I'm just going squad people, it's Grunt and Morden, because I just always really loved having those two with me. Grunt because I love a Krogan. Krogans are my favorite, and Morden because I think he was the funniest one to have around. Like, his comments would all be quite sarky and I don't know, separate or scientific. So he was my ones.
I think, yeah, I agree. Grunt was probably one of my favourites, just because he was the big Krogan baby. And I would agree, Garrus, I think I will always love. So it was really nice to have him back. And Morden was also very cool. I also really liked Miranda. I thought she was a bitch to begin with, but then she did really grow on me. I also did like the DLC characters, Kazumi and Zaid, but I wasn't 100% sure on their sort of side quests as much. We can get to that later.
Cool. Nice. Yeah. I similarly, I love Grunt too. Big Krogan baby. Him just yelling all the time when you fight is my favorite. I'm a Krogan. Now you're dead. Like all that. It's so fun. And then Garrus, of course. He was a favorite in Mass Effect 1 and still a favorite now for sure. So really enjoyed him. Also, Kasumi for me was kind of my like third, I think, of ones I liked. I think I'd met her early enough in the game that I was just like, oh, I like you, and would want to try to put her into things when I could help it. So, yeah. I think, again, as we talked about earlier, kind of the tension of a lot of good characters. Like, there's just a lot of people I wanted to spend time with. And I think probably a large portion of the game, I did a lot of Garrus and Grunt doing most of the missions, but if I could have had a third spot, I would have just rotated my third, I think.
Yeah, same. I always because Legion I had a lot. I quite liked having Legion when you get him and Thane. So it's one of those things where I'm like, the third, like you said, if it was a third slot, it would be a constant need for somebody to be in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I guess this is a good time to say this. I accidentally didn't get Legion. I fucked up because I know. I didn't figure it out till the game ended. I even picked Legion up. Like, I took the parts or whatever and put them on the ship. But when Caden says no, I thought that he was supposed to be a squad member and I just did it wrong. And so when he got mad at me, I was like, oh, I guess I'm not getting Caden. So I accidentally never activated Legion. So I was down a squad member the whole time.
I didn't even think that Legion was optional, to be fair. I forgot that you actually had to get them.
Yeah, because you pick them up. I think it's like Grunt is, where you pick up the material and then you can activate it on the ship. I think. And so I picked the material up, but I just thought it was tally stuff that she was going to do. And so I didn't think much of it. I didn't think I was skipping a squad member. And I was like, oh, Caden's mad at me because I'm with Cerberus. It must be he was the one who would have been my squad member, but isn't. So I totally played the whole game minus a person by accident.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
But no, Caden's just mad the whole time.
Yeah, it is.
Right, yeah.
Stupid Caden.
Yeah, basically. So it's like, all right, that's cool. We had some people write in though about their favorite squad members, so here's a couple I'll get. First up, we've got Christopher on Twitter, said Morden and Jack mostly just for their commentary. I could see that both of them have wild opinions, I would say. And then Adam on Twitter said Jacob is my second favorite. Everyone else ties for first. It's hard to pick a favorite, though. Garrus, Miranda, Morden, and Legion are probably my current favorites, though. So don't like Jacob, but everyone else, cool.
Yeah, Jacob never really gets a mention. He's a bit of a meh character, isn't he?
He's a bit bland. I feel a bit bad for saying it because, I think I went back and I did think maybe I sort of was a bit harsh on the first time I played it, but I don't know. I just think he doesn't strike me as one of the more interesting ones. I feel like there's a few more interesting people than him. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I wonder if once you get to a spot where there's a lot of humans, you're just kind of whatever. I wonder if that sort of made him less interesting or appealing for people. Once you have enough humans, you're like, you're kind of boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then we've got Mark on Twitter, said Grunt is my favorite to bring on missions. Borden is my favorite person to talk to. Yeah, I could see that. Adam on Twitter said Grunt and Garrus. I won't be taking any questions at this time, so I think they're kind of on the same page as us.
Yeah, strong choice.
Total Nerd on Twitter said Garrus is probably my favorite. After that, it's probably Morden or Tally. Nikki on Twitter says the one and only Garrus, Archangel, Valenkin, and Tally, the best girl, Zora, and never forget my son, Grunt. So,
Baby Grunt.
Yes. Johnny on Twitter said, is this a trick question? It's obviously Garrus and Garrus.
Yeah,
Garrus.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this is definitely Garrus. Mike on Twitter said, I'm actually partial to Jack, and not just because Shockwave is OP as hell in Game 2. I enjoyed her arc and seeing/helping her slowly heal after a lifetime of trauma. Royce similarly says, forever in love with Jack.
Yeah, she does have a good story.
She does, and I think it's another one where I've sort of gone back to her after a second playthrough and actually realised that she does have a really cool storyline. I think it's just because she can be quite funny with you in the beginning.
Yeah.
And she's not a huge. Well, it feels like she's not a huge fan.
She's a bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
Really.
But I think once you kind of break through, she does become more likable.
Yeah, I think she's a character. If I played Mass Effect 2 again, I would want to spend more time with her. I thought she was pretty interesting. But just in this part, just when you start out with a flood of interesting characters you want to spend time with, for me playing now, it was easier for her to be more sidelined. But I think that her backstory is pretty interesting, and I liked her loyalty mission. Next up, we got Pogo, who says Tally, Zora, Vostima, and any other. All good if Tally's there. Mike agrees and says Tally as well. And then lastly, Michael on Twitter says Legion. So a good variety. I would say not every character came up as a favorite, but most of them did. So I think, again, just showing kind of the love for this squad and potential you can choose here. So that's cool. I think, again, well done by BioWare having many favorites across people like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Now we can hop into recap itself. What happened in Mass Effect 2. So the game really starts off with kind of a, I guess, prologue of sorts. And you're on the Normandy, and it's getting attacked. And it's not a spot that the Normandy's going to get out of this. And someone tells you that Joker won't leave. And so as Shepard, you, like, run through the ship, and you basically, like, force Joker into an escape pod. He gets out, the Normandy blows up, and Shepard's dead? What? A really wild start to the game.
It was one of the most intense starts to a game I think I've ever experienced at that point. It was really good. I think it was something that was really different, and I do remember thinking, oh my god, if Joker's going to die, like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And I did feel very protective in that moment, so make sure he doesn't die.
Yeah, you really don't know where you're going after that, because you're just like, oh, my character's
Well,
dead.
I'm dead.
This has been all of 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was wild. You're like, Shepard's like the thing in Mass Effect. So it was like, just think, oh, is he just dead? Are we like, do I get a new character now? Who's in charge? Like, that was wild. But you end up fast forwarding 2 years later, and Shepard wakes up and finds out that he's been brought back to life by Cerberus. And he wakes up as the ship's being attacked, and you basically get in a situation where Miranda's on a walkie and she's trying to guide you out of there. But you're pretty skeptical of the whole thing, right? You were dead, you woke up in like a science lab, and also Cerberus is bad in kind of general. I guess this would be a good question. My understanding of Cerberus, I would say, is a little weaker. So what does Shepard kind of know about Cerberus coming into this game?
As far as I can remember, Cerberus are kind of like a... I don't really know how to describe it.
They're like almost a bit like pro-human, aren't they? Like organisation. I think they're a bit racist.
They're not known as being like a nice company. It's kind of a bit of a weird corporation that everyone's really skeptical about. They're kind of like the bad guys to the military and stuff like that. They're kind of a bit mercenary type thing. So I don't think,
A little bit racist.
Yeah, Council doesn't like them, a bit racist. Yeah. I'd actually be interested, because I think, because we both played as female Shepard, is it Jacob that guides you out of the ship when you play the second one?
I feel
as a
like,
female. I think it is.
Yeah, maybe they switch it around.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so do you meet Miranda in the hallway then instead? And then Jacob at the end?
I remember meeting Jacob first.
Yeah, I think Jacob guides you as female Shepard, femme Shep, and then, you meet Miranda later, whereas obviously, as
Oh, weird.
regular Shepard's the other way around.
Interesting. Yeah, I played as male Shepard, so that's interesting. That's cool. Huh. Yeah. So Shepard's skeptical though of Cerberus going into this, just that they're known for being shady and pro-human and a bit racist, like that kind of stuff. So not great. So he's a bit skeptical, but also he's in the middle of being attacked. So it's sort of, if someone's my ally, I guess I'll take him, whatever. And so kind of on your way, getting guided by Miranda to get out, you run into Jacob and meet him, and you team up with him since you're fighting the same bad guys. And then together you rescue Dr. Wilson, who was one of the people working on bringing you back. And as you're getting ready to leave, you open a door, and Miranda is on the other side of the door and just kills Dr. Wilson. And she says, he betrayed us, that's why we're getting attacked now. It's kind of a wild entrance to things, but together the three of you escape, and you head off to go talk to the elusive man to kind of figure out what the hell's going on.
I want to say, Cerberus, I've had a weird brainwave back to Mass Effect 1. Don't you do a mission in Mass Effect 1 where you go to, I think, the moon, and they've made a base, and they're doing, like, human experiments on biotics and stuff. And I think that's why you think you're mostly bad, because I think you do a couple of missions, or at least one side kind of story mission in Mass Effect 1 where they are the bad guys, and you break into, like, a lab or something like that.
For sure.
I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, so that makes
space cow.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Of some, I guess Cerberus has probably a negative reputation that Shepard would know about, but then also that experience of seeing, here's some shitty stuff they were doing, and so sort of kind of stuck in this sort of partner you don't want kind of thing, I guess. So from here though, you meet the elusive man. And he tells you about colonies that are disappearing. And he asks you to go investigate one of them. And so he's like, we brought you back because we know, like, I don't know, you're the kind of leader that mankind needs and, like, that kind of shit. And, you've got to help us protect humans. And he's trying to play even though Shepard isn't, like, he knows Shepard isn't a, like, pro-Cerberus, humans kind of guy. He does appeal to Shepard being, you were a Spectre, you want to protect people, you should go protect these people that I'm asking you to check on, kind of thing.
You're kind of like, you're put in a bit of a shit situation, I suppose, because like you kind of owe them your life in a way, and so you know that I think Shepard obviously knows that they're bad and knows that Elusive Man's probably a bit of an arse, but you're like, well, okay, like you make very good points, you've saved my life, and it's kind of like, I suppose you have to kind of look at like the greater good, but I think it's tough at the time because like deep down they're probably not good.
Yeah, I think for the time during like Mass Effect 2 as well, they're kind of like not the good guys, but they're kind of the ones that are seeing that the threat. Done. Yeah, they know the threat is there, and they're kind of letting you do what you want to be able to do. So you kind of go with them because they're like, well, at least they're letting me like kill the evil that's around rather than just ignoring me.
Yeah, it is a weird spot. That's how I felt when I started too, was like, I guess I should do what they're saying because they brought me back. Like, I would be dead. But then, as the game goes on, you're like, all right, how can I don't know, still accomplish this greater mission that's important, even though I've got to kind of deal with Cerberus being shady. And right now that your only crew members are Cerberus with Miranda and Jacob, so you're like, I don't know, you're kind of on an island to start off.
Yeah, you don't trust them, but you go with them, kind of thing.
Yep, totally. So you go and head off and check out this first planet, this colony that the elusive man sends you to. And when you get there, you run into Tally and her squad of Quarians who are investigating here. Tally is shocked to see you since you're supposed to be dead, but also was happy to see you, but also apprehensive, like, why are you with Cerberus? Cerberus sucks. Kind of feel. There ends up being a part in here where, you get to the colony, everyone's gone, everything's destroyed, but there's no bodies. So it's super weird. They're just disappeared. But there's a Quarian survivor who was there, and Miranda is like, no, we need to take him back to Cerberus for questioning, but Tally's like, no, he's one of us, I want to take him back home. This is one of your early decisions of kind of how you can go with a relationship. So with me, I sent him back with Tali, because Tali, so I was like, I'm gonna give this to her. And it seems like the elusive man basically has given you sort of direction of like, I trust you to make the right decision, sort of thing. But also, you probably don't want to make decisions the elusive man wouldn't make all the time, is basically how he kind of puts it, it feels like. But after this, you do make it back to the elusive man, and you find out the Joker works for Cerberus now, and he pilots a rebuilt Normandy, Normandy 2, for Cerberus. And Joker lets you know that basically after the Normandy got destroyed, they just kind of broke up the team from Mass Effect 1, and everyone was kind of everywhere. So a lot of people aren't with the Council anymore fighting for them.
Joker is the most loyal boy. I think,
Yeah.
because Joker's very much just like, well, I'll do whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
If we're Shepherd, I'll do it.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. He's like, I'll follow you wherever you want to go, which is cool. He's great. So from here, after kind of seeing the stolen colony with your own eyes, you get your mission from the Elusive Man, which is to assemble a team and stop the collectors who are abducting these entire colonies. And so the first section of this game is you get, I guess also, when you play this game, right, you can do a lot of it in any order you want. So there might be some characters that we talk about that I'd picked up early on that you might not pick up till later, or you pick someone else up first, or all that stuff. But kind of your first section of the game is you get sent to recruit people who are like, this person, codename blah blah blah, kind of thing. So like codename Archangel, and so you don't know actually what you're getting into. You're like, all right, I got to find this person, and I'll do the mission to find them. What this kind of results in, big picture, is you can recruit Jack, Garrus, Morden, take the pod that contains Grunt, and then also recruit Kasumi and Zaid at this point, which Kasumi and Zaid are DLC characters who got added later on, so their parts are a little smaller. But this is what sort of that big section can bring in itself. Now, I guess going more specifically, we can talk a little bit about how you recruit each of these people. So I guess first up with Garrus, you find out that he's got this alias Archangel, and he's basically just been killing bad guys. He's sort of made himself a bounty hunter that hunts down bad people of sorts. And so when you find him, he's a bit more jaded, and he's just been killing bad guys basically since you died, it sounds like. And so he's willing to come join your squad again if you help him take out this kind of last target before he's out. So you help him, and then he's kind of willing to join you.
Like Batman.
Yeah.
He basically becomes Batman.
You're right. Yeah, he's Batman if Batman kills. That's true. So you get Garrus. Jack, she is in a kind of prison ship of sorts, and Cerberus has, I don't know, arranged some sort of payment to let her out. And so you get inside this prison. But when you get there, Jack is already trying to escape on her own, so there's a lot of chaos going on in a prison break itself. But also, the people who ran the prison were like, well, if we could capture Shepard, we could probably make a lot of money ransoming you to someone else. So you get a real chaotic scene of just shooting everybody on this giant prison ship, basically.
It's a bit chaotic on that mission.
It's intense.
Mm-hmm. It's quite creepy as well, because you're kind of going to this facility that's all dark and breaking up.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a creepy spot to go into. Then you've got Morden, who is dealing with a plague outbreak in kind of one of the sections of one of the cities, and for him, you just need to help him, so he makes you like go get some medicine that's on sort of the other side of the plague area. I think also what happens here is the plague's broken out, but then some like bad people have moved in, and they're basically like, I don't know, looting dead people's homes and like kind of setting up a turf kind of in there. So you have kind of a mess there going on. Also for Grunt, you've got Dr. O'Keir, who's a Krogan scientist, is trying to make like a super Krogan, basically, of like, if I can get the best of every Krogan, I could make the ultimate Krogan fighter. And so when you meet Dr. O'Keir, he ends up dying as you meet him, but you can take his work, which is Grunt in kind of a tube, who's not been born yet, but is kind of ready to be.
Big Krogan baby.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Big crooked baby. And then last, your 2 DLC characters, you've got Zaid. And he's basically willing to come if you just say, hey, you ready to come? Because he's going to get paid by Cerberus and is basically willing to fight for money. That's it. He doesn't really care about causes, but wants
Probably
money.
the easiest recruit because it's just like, hey, do you want to come with me? Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah. You just see him and you say, you like money? And he says, I do. And then last is Kasumi, who also basically agrees to come right away. You just got to say, yeah, I'll help you with this heist you're planning. And she's like, okay, cool, I'm in. So you've started to assemble your squad. You're partway through. And then there's an attack on the colony called Horizon. And so Elusive Man Sinji there says, an attack's already going on, see if you can stop it. And you arrive at Horizon as collectors are there. And it's a total shit show chaos situation. You also find out on your way there that Caden's the leader of this colony. So, old squad mate, concerned if he's alive, but also want to help. One thing you find out here is the collectors turn people into husks, which are basically like, I don't know, they can't fight, they can't like shoot. They're basically like zombies, essentially, that try to attack you, which they suck. They were maybe my least favorite enemy a lot because they're so annoying.
Yeah, agreed. They just run at you. They just appear from everywhere, and I hate them.
Yeah, hate them. They were definitely the enemy that made me the most mad when they'd show up. I'm like, ugh, they're the worst. But you, ultimately are able to help drive the collectors off the colony. A lot of their people have died. You do meet Caden, though, and he's pissed that you're with Cerberus, because Cerberus is bad, and it's sort of like a shepherd would never do this, how are you this way, sort of thing, and refuses to join you, because you can ask him to come. This is where I thought that I missed a squad member. I was obviously wrong. But...
Yeah. I would say that, like, if someone was to say to me, like, what's wrong with Mass Effect 2, I'd be like, well, Caden hates me. Because I romanced Caden in the first game, and I adore him. He is my space boyfriend. And so, obviously, when I found out that he was, like, annoyed with me, which, by the way, like, he should have been like, oh, wow, you're alive. This is amazing.
Right.
Instead, he's just like, oh, okay, you're alive, but you're working with Cerberus, therefore I hate you. And it was very upsetting, and I'm still mad.
I don't think I've ever forgiven him, and I now hate him every time I play, like, Mass Effect 1. And it's very tempting to murder him every time I play through them. I still haven't, but it's close.
Yeah.
He's ruined himself.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So...
We're
Do
bitter
you...
women.
No. Well, I was thinking just because, when I played as male Shep, so I couldn't romance him in the first one. So does this count as you being broken up if you romanced him the first time?
It feels like it. It's a betrayal.
Yeah, you can't, because you can't romance him in the second one. So it's like, he misses, like...
Yeah, it's not great. You do have some, I won't say too much, but you do have some sort of dialogue later on, like via emails from him, but for the most part, he's just really rude.
Yeah, he doesn't ever really redeem himself, like, even later, I wouldn't say. Later on, game-wise, and that kind of thing. Like, he just... for me, that was it. He killed it.
Never forgiven Kate.
No, that's it.
I always forgive him, but it's just Horizon is like a sore spot.
Clearly bitter. Like, you burned me once. No, you're not coming back.
Setting his clothes on fire when you throw it out of the Normandy. Like...
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All the gifts got me.
Yeah. That's funny. No, that's interesting. I guess now, because of knowing what I know, in the previous one, I did romance Ashley. I imagine it would be the same thing with her, where she'd be pissed.
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I wonder if it replaces with
It takes
Ashley.
me about 2 seconds to decide whether or not I'm killing Ashley, and it's always yes. So I don't actually know what happens with Ashley.
Yeah, that's I should have looked into that. I'll have to look into that later, because I'd be curious. I'm guessing it's probably the same, is that they're pissed at you, and say, I don't want to be with you.
Although Ashley's a bit of a racist and Cerberus are a bit racist, so really she should be like.
Maybe she's into it.
Yeah, right. She's like, I wish I could come. I want to murder aliens. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Be interesting to know what happens.
That's bad. Yeah, no, that's true. I'll have to look that up later on for sure. But okay, so your kind of recruitment is broken up by this, but then you get some more people you can recruit, which is you can add Tally, Thane, and Samara at this point. So Tally, you find out that she's kind of pinned down at Hailstorm, and you get there, and her squad's been killed by Geth. And so you kind of fight your way to her. Her whole squad dies, and so you're kind of like, hey, well, do you want to join up with me and do this? And, be on my squad again, kind of thing. One thing that's cool in this one is this is the planet, right, where you can't be in the sun. You have to stay in the shade.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
That was pretty cool, just to kind of see, oh, whoa, like, it was just such a different feeling planet to the other ones, because you're like, oh shit, I can't stay in the sun that long, my armor's gonna melt and all that. And then also in this section you get Thane. So Thane, you find out about him from Liara, so you run into her, and she basically also won't join your cause, but for some reason the way Caden said no made me think he could have been my squad member. When Tally said no, for some reason I didn't think that, but because you can also ask Tally to come and join, and she says no, I've got to do Shadow Broker stuff, because she's working with the Shadow Broker and has basically like does a lot of spy kind of shit, it seems like. But she tells you about Thane, and she says, I can't tell you where Thane is, but I can tell you who Thane's after. And so you kind of try to track down the target Thane is trying to kill in hopes of finding Thane. Ultimately, that target gets killed, but you do find Thane, and he's like, sure, I'll join. I'm in. And then last one, Samara, the Asari Justicar we talked about. And she's tracking down her daughter, who is basically like, she tricks people into falling in love with her, and then she kills them when they're vulnerable, kind of thing. And so Samara's messed up for sure. So Samara's trying to track her down to like stop her from doing that, but when you meet her, she's been arrested because maybe someone who knew about where her daughter was, Samara kills because they're in the way or something like that. So you run into this sort of weird tension when you meet her as well. So, okay. Now, again, you kind of have another, like, big story thing kind of bring you to the front, which is you get word of a collector ship that's seems to be uninhabited from the Elusive Man. So you head off to go to this collector ship, and you also want to learn about this Omega-4 relay. So basically, the collectors are, from my understanding, on this other side of the universe, and you need a special relay to basically like blast through space to get there. But it's super dangerous, and most people die when they try it. So you're like, well, maybe the collector ship has the kind of details on how to pull that off. So you go there to investigate, but you do get the information you need. But it turns out there were a lot of dormant collector things there, so you get you have almost a trap sprung on you about it. You're kind of pissed at the Elusive Man because he's not transparent about the risk there. But he's kind of like, well, if they knew you knew something would happen, it would have tipped them off. So I had to let you into it and trust that you'd figure it out, kind of thing.
Yeah, this is where the Elusive Man starts to kind of like show his true colours a little bit, in the sense that you kind of sense that he doesn't actually care about you that much. Not that he doesn't have the greatest reputation, but
he acts like he at least has a human side, and then
I feel like you start to sort of mistrust him a little bit at this point.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like this was the spot where you knew, oh, okay, greater good is the most important in your mind, not any people that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So yeah, for me too, this was the spot where I was like, I see what you're saying, but fuck you. Like, all right,
Basically.
I'm not only gonna agree with you now. Like, you're not that guy that I'm gonna trust necessarily. So then I think a section that we should take some time into kind of side quest on, which are the loyalty missions. So each squad member basically, I think, can have, I'm guessing 2 or maybe 3 views of loyalty with you. They could be normal or loyal. So you can kind of affect your relationship with them. I'm guessing if you were really bad, you could maybe have a untrusting or something, but I don't know if that's for sure true, but I would think you could, like, if you didn't do a loyalty mission but had the bad interaction to make them go less. I don't know if you know that. Can any be less than normal?
I was such a people pleaser. I've no idea. Like, I had to get everyone to like me, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I've never really played Renegade either, and I don't know how much that affects things when you go for more of those options.
Yeah.
Because quite a few times, some people really like you being Renegade, and some people don't. Like, I think Jack responds really well if you are really high Renegade, but also, like, Garrus doesn't. But I don't know whether it affects how much they like you as people. I think they just kind of disagree. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm not sure because there's a couple times where they set 2 characters up against one or another, where they argue, and so if you had them both as loyal, one of them moves to normal if you can't do it right, kind of thing. So I don't know. That'd be interesting, I guess, also to look into. But yeah, I guess we can go through kind of loyalty missions a couple at a time and I don't know, see what we got. So. And also, again, as this game is played, you can do a lot of these loyalty missions at any point. Usually after you recruit the person, that loyalty mission is available. So, really, I feel like this game is set up a lot with, like, recruiting and loyalty missions is really probably a lot of the game. And then the main story kind of cuts in and out as you go with this stuff as sort of your main focus. That's how I felt, at least, playing.
I think so. It's kind of like set up that this is kind of side stuff, but also it is important. So it doesn't make you, but if you really want to get all the results, you kind of have to do it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the enjoyment of these games, I think, is higher. Like, this game is better because I did the loyalty missions. I think that they were super enjoyable.
Because it's all about your character relationships more than anything. That's what this game relies you on playing.
They're generally all very interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that they were good too. I don't feel like I got sent on many like boring fetch quest or something like that, or something I didn't want to do. It was like everything you got was something new and interesting, or told you more about the character or where they came from or whatever. So, first couple though that we got, Miranda, she wants help having her estranged sister escape from her father. So you find out, kind of getting to know Miranda, that her dad basically like forced all of these like enhancements on her. So make you like really attractive, make you really have these different biotic powers, blah, 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 blah. And so just like a powerful version of her. And so she sort of struggles with is it me who's really good at things, or is it these powers my dad made me do? And her sister was never a part of any of that, so she wants to keep her away from that, but her dad's figured out where her sister is, kind of thing. And then for Jacob, his dad went missing 10 years ago on some mission, but then you randomly get a transmission come through that says where his dad's at. You go there to investigate, and you find out his dad and the company arrived basically on this planet where it like dulls your senses basically because of I think the air or something that's there. And so his dad has basically like set up a harem where he's like taken over all of the people and of his crash ship and is sort of like their king, and I don't know, has sex with everyone. It's weird.
Yeah, forgot about that one.
Weird mission. It was really good. It was really interesting, but weird.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's super weird. His dad sucks. he's the worst for sure for this. Super weird. I think I don't remember what I did with his dad. I might have killed him. Because I was like, because I think he tried to be like, oh, I could like fix it and make it better. I'm like, I don't trust you. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So I think I killed him. Or maybe let Jacob kill him. I don't remember. Yeah, not good. Either way. Then I guess next to we've got Garrus, who he wants to hunt down a team member of his who was on his like squad of before this, a guy named Sidonis, who betrayed him, and all of Garrus' squad had gotten killed when they were doing like a bounty mission. And so Garrus wants to be able to hunt down Sidonis. So you can help him do that and track this guy down. And then for Morden, he's got an old lab assistant who he'd worked with, who was working on genophage stuff with the Krogan, and trying to figure that out. And you go and meet this lab assistant, and you think he's been captured to do this, but it turns out that he's kind of mad scientist at this point, and so you have to take out this guy so that he can't kind of cause more destruction. And then you've got our next two are Grunt. So Grunt basically goes through like Krogan puberty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
Which is funny. And he's like, I just have to like prove myself to my clan or something. And so he goes back to where the Krogan are from and has to complete this rite of passage, which on brand being Krogan is to like just kill a bunch of monsters basically. And you like help him do that because you like sponsor him as his commander or whatever, and so you have to just kill all these monsters, including a really big monster that was scary, so that was cool.
Oh yeah, it's because the Krogan don't really accept Grunt at first, right? Because they're like, well, you're not a real one, because he's essentially like a test tube
Pretty much.
baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Because obviously they can't reproduce, like that's kind of the whole genophage thing. But he's new and no one accepts him, so you end up being like his little squad mate. It's really
it's
cute.
quite sad, isn't it? Really.
I think they accept him afterwards, right?
Yeah,
Because
it takes some time, but you're like, accept my son, please.
like sending off to play school, and then all the other kids bully him.
Right, yeah, because he because he's a test tube creation, they're like, you're not real Krogan, and he's like, I'm more Krogan than all of you, kind of thing. But yep, they accept him. It works out. Tally's loyalty mission is you find out that Tally's getting charged with treason for picking up like Geth material, and so you go to defend her for treason. I think part of this comes in is that her dad was doing research on Geth, and you were like sending him parts, and the Geth activated and killed his whole ship or something like that. And so the Quarians are like, Tally's a traitor, her dad was a traitor, all that stuff is kind of your mission here.
Yeah, I don't remember doing very well at this mission ever.
It was very political.
Yeah, I think it was fine in the end. I took Tally along with me, but it was just like, yeah, I never felt like I was doing the right thing because it was very, like you said, very political.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I think ultimately I tried to defend her and they kicked her out, but she was like happy I tried. And I think I tried to retain her dad's honor or something, but she got kicked out. That was something in a couple of these missions a couple of these loyalty missions I found along the way, was if I didn't have enough like Paragon or Renegade, I went Paragon, but like if I didn't have enough points, I just got locked out and had to choose like options that weren't as good, and so you get sort of bad choices along the way, which I experienced in the next one. So Jack, for hers, her loyalty mission, she wants to go blow up her old cell at a Cerberus facility that she was kept in, where those experiments that we talked about were happening. And so we go and do that, and we blow it up, and there's some bad guys there, and we kill them. That's all good. But when we get back, there's a dispute between Miranda and Jack, where I think Jack's pretty hot about being at a Cerberus facility back where her childhood was really traumatic. And so she starts kind of going at Miranda, and Miranda doesn't like Jack either. And so they kind of feud. And you've got a spot here where if you have enough points, you can potentially solve the situation with nothing going wrong. But if you don't, you're going to lose one of their loyalty. So for me, I ended up siding with Miranda in their fight because I was like, I don't really have a choice. And I think I'd maybe done Miranda's mission before this too, and had kind of built some more bond with her. So I was like, I guess I'll choose you, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I think I had enough Paragon points to do the good things.
I think the first time I did it, I sided with Jack and Miranda hated me, and I think the second time I managed to kind of calm things down. But yeah.
That's good. I was definitely regretful of not having enough points because I wanted both of them to be loyal. And my thinking is if someone's not loyal, things could go wrong, kind of thing. Which is, I don't know. We find out later on, but so I was like, fuck, I lost her loyalty. That sucks. Then let's see. For Thane, his loyalty mission is he's got a son who he basically abandoned when he became like an assassin guy. And now his son's kind of following in his same steps and is trying to get into kind of the crime world. And so you go and stop him from committing crimes. That's your loyalty mission there. For Samara's is you use Shepard as bait to try to catch her daughter. So you go and like hang out at this club and in hopes that her daughter will try to seduce you and then kill you, and then Samara will come and save the day, sort of thing is the goal. This was one that I failed this mission. The daughter spot like caught on, so I didn't end up succeeding here.
Yeah, I know. I think I've gone wrong once before and had that same thing. I think something else happens and I've died there because you can get murdered. I think at that point. I think like if you don't do something like the I feel like the daughter can murder you, but I think it goes too far and like does something. I can't really remember. I think it was something like that.
That's wild. Yeah. Then your kind of last two for Kasumi. She wants help stealing this gray box that her partner had died trying to retrieve. And it's got like information about I think the council doing something shitty in it.
Damn it, council.
Yeah, something like that. And then Zaid has a formal partner who betrayed him, who he wants killed, and so you go hunt that guy down. So that's how you can get loyalty for all of them. From here, you get the Reaper IFF, and you and your squad go on a smaller mission. And while you're on this smaller mission, so all your squad members are out, when you leave, the Normandy's location gets transmitted to the collectors, and they attack the Normandy, and a bunch of the crew gets captured or killed. But Joker manages to like get guided by Edie through the Normandy, and he like basically like releases an airlock and like things like that. And so basically everyone but him on the ship is either captured or died, kind of thing, which was pretty wild.
Yeah, is this the mission that you can go like one of three ways? It's like a weird timed mission.
Yeah,
it's like
I feel like you can rescue certain ship members, like obviously not squad members, but ship.
It's all about your crew. I think something happens. It's like if you go do this mission straight away, like as soon as it happens, you can save like your whole crew.
So it's like the doctor and stuff.
Yeah, if you do like a couple things or like one mission and then you go and do it, you can save half the crew and Dr. Chakra. And then sometimes I think if you do a bunch of stuff and you don't go and do it for a while, you only save the doctor. I think everyone else dies. I think it's got like a couple different layers depending on when you do this mission.
Oh wow, that's wild. Yeah, I think that because also you switched to playing as Joker here, which was kind of wild. Like you This is the only time you change characters in this little section.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah, because the ship is like yeah, I remember now. It's quite a horrible situation, really, because I think when you play as Joker, especially, like, you feel quite vulnerable.
Right, because I don't think you can fight. It almost becomes like a stealth thing, where you're just like, bad shit's going on around you, and you're like, I can't help them. I have to, release the airlocks or do these things that Edie's telling me to, so that I can save who I can or save the ship, sort of deal. Also, before this, Joker's pretty apprehensive of Edie, but after this experience, he's like, I trust Edie. But before, he was pretty skeptical of AI.
Yeah.
Okay, so from here, this heads us towards kind of the end of the game. So I think an important question before the final mission is, did you romance anyone in the game? So what did you two do?
The first time I played it, I romanced Thane, which was an alright time. And then every other time since then, I've done Garrus, because Garrus is my best boy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I romanced Thane in my first playthrough because I was like, well, Caden's off.
Yeah,
it's here.
exactly.
So, but to be honest, I didn't like Thane that much. I actually preferred his son. I wanted to romance his son, but apparently that wasn't possible. And I think my second playthrough, I romanced no one, but I always wanted Miranda. But as a female shepherd, you can't romance Miranda.
Oh, she male only?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, it was Thane. But I'm not a huge fan of aliens, and I didn't really like Jacob that much. So I was it was a bit of a romanceless game for me, I think. In the middle.
That's fair.
Huh, interesting. For me, I'd like romance towards Miranda a little bit, and they got to the spot where they probably would have like went for it, and she was like, well, but like the mission, maybe we should wait till after this, and I was like, all right, fine, I think you're right. And so I basically like almost did and then didn't. But then also with Liara, I did have some interactions with her. I think in the DLC I invited her onto the ship afterwards, so like they didn't full romance either, but I think it was more Shepard kind of threw out his line that way of like, hey, if you want to romance in the next game, I'm ready.
Yeah.
So that was basically how it looked for mine. On Twitter, we had a couple people write in. Adam on Twitter wrote in and said, I've romanced Miranda and Jack from the new crew. I've also carried forward the romance with Liara through the first game. So that makes sense. Mai on Twitter said, relink the Liara romance in the Shadow Broker DLC. That's my like personal canon. In other playthroughs, I've romanced Miranda, Jack, and Garrus. So a couple different ones. Nikki on Twitter said, Liara in my first playthrough. My first male shepherd romance was Tally, obviously. Now I often romance Garrus. Chris on Twitter said, sometimes I'd romance Miranda, other times I'd stick to my true love, Liara. Christopher said, shout out to the underappreciated Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about Kelly. She's just on your ship doing reporting stuff, isn't she? Is that who she is?
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
no.
like next to you. Yeah,
Is
she's
she,
like...
Is she Kelly, like, she's not a doctor, or is she, like, a lieutenant, or is she the... I'm getting confused in games now.
I know, I can't remember if...
She gives you, like, your messages, so she, like, stands by, like, the thing where you choose where to travel to, and she'll say, like... Yeah, and she'll tell you, like, oh, Garrus wants to talk to you, or whatever.
Yeah, no, I remember now.
Oh, yeah. What's the reporter's name? Or is that number one? Or is that 3? I get confused. There's too many women.
Let's see. Clarence on Twitter said, Jack, she's the coolest. Pogo on Twitter said, everyone actually just for fun, but my first and true love has always been Liara. And Mark on Twitter said, only Tally during my first playthrough, but I've mostly played this with female shepherd doing no romance options.
You're missing out on Garrus.
So I think, again, some variety here. And I think, as you said earlier, too, right? Some people will romance femshep or male shep. Some will only romance femshep or only male shep. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a travesty. Like, I wish that you know, because it was the same. I think it was the same with Mass Effect 1. Like,
Yeah.
a male Shepard couldn't romance like Caden and all that kind of stuff, and I know that I was very upset obviously not being able to have Miranda. And you can't romance Tally, can you, as a female Shepard?
No, you can't. Yeah, there are some that are both, some that are one or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember who's both.
I don't remember if you can you romance Jack as a female Shepard?
Don't know actually. I think you might be able to. Liara, I know you can.
Yes, Liara. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it does. I hope that obviously I think maybe in later games you can.
Andromeda, you can't. You're still locked to one or the other. It's got like one other or both. Maybe the newest one you might be able to do everybody. But
yeah. I wonder if in the right, because they're making another one that's coming soon or soonish or whatever that they said. I wonder if in that one it'll be romance everyone or most people are everyone, and maybe there's like one or two that are only one or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That'll be interesting to see what they do. Okay, so now you've geared up. You've collected all. You've got all your people. You've had your romance. Now it's kind of in game. The suicide mission, which you've been building toward this whole time. And so you use the Omega 4 relay to travel to where the collectors are and attack them. En route, the Normandy gets attacked. For me, I fuck it up and thought my ship would auto upgrade. That like Morden was taking care of it. He did not.
Morden.
Yeah, I misread that situation hardcore. So first Jack gets killed on the ship. Then Kasumi got killed for me, and then Thane got killed for me. So
oh no.
Yeah, so my squad was feeling it immediately. Got a lot of them killed right away, so I really messed that up. I really thought that I was like, oh, I'll recruit Morden and he'll fix it. No, I was supposed to spend money and choose things. So a bunch of them die, but the Joker manages to land the Normandy on the collector base. And so you can get out on foot and handle this. And so at the base, you get split up into 3 teams. You've got your first team, second team, and then you've got one person who's going to sneak through the the rafters, or not the rafters, but like a tube.
Vents?
Vents. There we go. Thank you. The fence, who's going to basically open the gate to bring the 2 teams together, and you'll be able to like move together kind of thing. So your big kind of decisions here is you need to choose who's going to lead. You'll lead team 1. You have to choose who's going to lead team 2, and you have to choose who's going to go through the vents. For me, I in this time too, you have Garrus and Miranda get in a big fight about like, she can't lead a team. She's Cerberus. I don't trust her. And Miranda saying something about Garrus that is negative towards him. So what I did here was I was like, fine, since you guys can't get along, I had Tali lead my team, and then going through the vents, they wanted a tech person to do it, but Jacob was like, I can do this. I've got this. So I was like, okay, you're volunteering for like the hard job. I'll give it to you. This doesn't work out well for Jacob.
I've got this.
You don't got this.
Yeah, he didn't have this, which is too bad because he did make it through all the vents when I was fought through. But then at the end, he just shut the door too slow and got shot in the head. So bad for him.
God.
Yeah, he's dead now too. And so I'm really feeling it. I'm like, I might lose everybody. Like, so then you kind of, your next regroup is, okay, we need to divide again. You make your way through a bit, and you end up finding some of the crew in these like tubes where they would get turned into husks, and you manage to free several of them. So like the doctor and Kelly were among these people, and so you can choose to send a person back to escort them back, or you can just send them on their own and be like, good luck, you'll figure it out, kind of thing. So for me, I sent Tally back with them because I was like, this might be a way to make sure someone on my squad doesn't die, and I don't want Tally to die, so I'll send her back.
I don't remember who I sent back, but I know that I know Kelly died on mine.
Oh, I want to say Jacob I sent back. Because I think I was like, I don't want you, Jacob. Get out of here.
Yeah, I know that I didn't do well with the like crew members.
Okay. A bunch of your crew died, kind of thing.
Well, yeah. I was in the ship's kind of like staff, I suppose.
Maybe this is what I'm thinking of when it's like the timed thing. If you don't go and do this mission when it gets to it straight away, like you can lose
the minor characters, yeah.
Yeah, all the just people on the ship. That's it. And like you can save Dr. Chakra every time, but I think
like, you could lose Kelly.
Yeah, and you can lose all the crew members. They can all get turned into husk before you get there.
Okay, that makes sense because Tali for me was loyal. So when I sent her back, it was fine. But I think if she wasn't loyal, she would have got killed. Or whoever you send back. And maybe the crew too, kind of thing. So that makes sense too. So I sent Tali back though because I was like, really almost everyone might die. So I want to try to save someone. But I didn't want to... If I thought Garrus would die, I would have sent him back. But I was like, I think I need him. And I don't think he'll die. So I kind of rolled the dice with him there. But basically what you have here is you've got a distraction team who's going to have a lot of firepower. And then another team that's going to go through with Samara, or I think other biotics can do it, is where they'll basically have like a big force field around you because you're walking through this section with a lot of like, I don't know, creatures. I guess.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
They look like bats, kind of. So, for my fire team, I sent Garrus over to lead that because I was like, I trust you. You're a good fighter. You'll probably keep us safe. So, then I had my other team was Samara, Miranda, and Grunt. And we went through, but Samara wasn't loyal because I failed her mission. So, near the end, her field went down and Grunt got killed, which I was real sad by.
No.
That is very upsetting.
Yeah.
I know.
Turned the PlayStation off.
I was tempted to. I was real sad. Since he was one of my favorites the whole way through.
Just restart the game.
Yeah. Brutal. Then you kind of finally arrive at this, like, I don't even know if this is quite the right description, but like a human larva collector experience. They're basically trying to make like a super collector of sorts. And you have to blow it up to basically like stop the collectors. You blow this up and then you're kind of, okay, we've defeated the collectors here, kind of thing. And so, as you all know, for me, I lost... like everybody, it feels like.
Who did you have left?
I know. At the end, I think I had like 5 people left. It was bad.
Okay.
Because I think my final missions, I had, like at the end, I had Garrus leading the other team. So I think with me, I might have had like Miranda and Morton or something, and then everyone else was with Garrus. Like, it was bad. I really lost everybody. But did either of you have anyone die in this mission?
No, I had nobody die on this mission because I was really funny about making sure everyone was loyal before I left. I think, like I said, the only thing I think I did do was lose half the crew because I went and did something else before the last mission.
I had it similar. I think my first playthrough, I kind of knew what was coming, and I remember I googled it, and I basically just made sure I did everything I possibly could so that nobody dies, because I have a real funny thing about losing like members in games like this. So it's not cheating, it's just sort of ensuring that, because if I hadn't have done that, I probably would have lost everybody. So
yeah, it's wild looking at the I went and like looked at a chart for basically like what happens, kind of thing, and like all the characters have an order in which they die if like the different things happen. So like if you like did a bad job at this and didn't like recruit I don't know, all your crew members or things like that, like for one of the things, I think Garrus can get killed on the ship, which is crazy. Like, you know, to think that he could have got killed, because to me he feels like such a key Mass Effect character.
Yeah.
So like that he could die if you didn't upgrade the ship and didn't recruit people well. Like that's pretty wild. But among everyone else, it's pretty wild. Just kind of what that is. But we had some people online write in though. Adam on Twitter said Morden died in my original playthrough. I also once had Zaid die, as he can't be fire team leader, even though he should be able to.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was something on the chart I saw too, is that certain people, if you put them as the leader, then someone will die, kind of thing. So like only certain people can be the leader, otherwise they won't be a good enough leader and people will die, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mai on Twitter said, first playthrough I got Jack and Grunt killed because I forgot to upgrade the ship. After that I finished the suicide mission with no casualties, aside from that weird bug in the original game that got Morden killed unless he was sent back to the crew. I also let Jacob die sometimes because no one likes Jacob.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, if anyone's going to be killed off for that one, it's fine.
Nikki on Twitter said, in my first playthrough, I let Jack die on purpose because I was young, dumb, and influenced by a friend. Big mistake. In retrospect, Jack is amazing. I think I had Morden die in a playthrough once, and I once messed something up and had Garrus and or Tally die. But now I have lots memorized so that everyone survives as it should be. Part of me wants to send Jacob into the duct out of spite because the idiot wanted to volunteer. Shake my head.
Because Jacob thought he had it.
Yeah, it's
He's
fair.
person.
You know, thinks he can do it.
He
Right.
got this.
Yeah, I think, they just made it seem so dangerous. Like, whoever does this, it'll be really dangerous. And I was like, if a guy's volunteering, I don't want to be like, nah, you do it. Like, that seems like a dick move. It's like, I know Jacob really wants to do it, but sorry, Tally, get in the vent. Like, I don't know. Even though I think if she does it, it's fine. Like, I think she's one of the people who's good at that, but it just seems mean. Chris on Twitter said, everyone lived. Kyle on Twitter said, first time playing, all because of my inability to leave planets unexplored, so I didn't immediately head off to start the mission. So I think they had the crew thing that you talked about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I need to scan all the planets and find all of the things. And I didn't realize I needed to do that before I get to the last mission.
Yeah, that was sneaky. I feel like, you know, normally in a game like this, you're like, I have to do everything before I move on to a thing. Like, if they tell you this is the point of no return, you're like, okay, I'll do all the game first then.
Exactly. I think that's what they want you to trick you into doing, is to go do all those finishing things. And they're like, well, you killed the crew because you didn't do it fast enough. And you're like, damn it. So close.
Yeah, totally. Mike said, on an early run, Miranda didn't make it through the last stand. I sided with Jack in their fight, and she wasn't loyal as a result. Scott said Tally died. Travis said, no. Any save file that shows Morden as a heap on the floor in the collector base is an elaborate deception. Clearly the canon save file is the one that was filed an hour later. Christopher on Twitter said, thanks to the power of Google, every member survived. Pogo on Twitter said, not one. I was glad I did not, but I would have cheated otherwise and loaded a previous save. I'm a no person left behind kind of guy. And then last, Justin says, first time on Twitter, yes, I made some rookie mistakes. The last 9 suicide missions have gone perfectly, though. So I think some variety there. It doesn't seem like anyone had as many people killed as I am, so there's a lot of better Commander Shepherds than me, it seems. So hopefully Mass Effect 3 fares better for my crew whenever I play that. But from here, once you kind of destroy this big bad, the elusive man calls in and says, hey, you could use like a pulse and basically kill all of the bad guys, but we could take the base for tech and be able to figure out how to fight more. Save the base. And you can say, no, I'm going to destroy this, or you can say, okay, I'll save the base. So what did you do?
I blew it up. I don't trust that elusive man.
Yeah, blow up every time.
Yeah, same. I blew it up at this point. I didn't trust him. And also I felt like I was finally in that spot where it's like, what are you going to do? Like, I've already done all of this stuff. Like, you can't stop me now, kind of thing. So, Yeah, destroyed it. My on Twitter wrote in and said, destroyed it. No way I trust the elusive man with that data. Kober on Twitter said, blow it up to spite Martin Sheen. Which I thought was good. I like that. Nikki on Twitter said, destroyed it. And to quote the lovely people over at Reignite Podcast, fuck the elusive man. David on Twitter said, destroyed it. Anything the Reapers touch has a tendency to indoctrinate. And Adam on Twitter said, I've blown it up every time. So it seems like all of us are probably on that same page. You gotta blow it up. It's not... giving the elusive man this stuff isn't worth it, ever. It doesn't seem like...
Unless you're doing like kind of an evil playthrough, I feel like most people will destroy it.
Yeah, I'm tempted to try an evil playthrough one time, but I don't feel like I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, I guess if you went like just all pro Cerberus the whole way, I could see then being like, alright, fine. But that would be hard to do. I don't know if I could play through it that way.
You'd feel so dirty afterwards.
Yeah. You need a shower afterwards.
So then also there's some DLC for Mass Effect 2 that I wanted to just hit up real quick about this. So one of the DLCs is called Lair of the Shadow Broker. This is Liara tracking down the Shadow Broker. And she ends up killing him and taking his place, which I thought was pretty cool. So in this one, you end up like boarding the Shadow Broker's ship. You end up finding him, and he's this alien, but it seems like he's an alien trying to masquerade as something else. And so your kind of theory that Liara has after you kill him is that this guy had found the Shadow Broker's ship and just took over and was like, oh, I'm the Shadow Broker, and everything continued as usual because no one had met the Shadow Broker. And Liara basically does that here.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this DLC mission, and I think one of the reasons why I liked it was because I remember towards the end of it, you get to like find out loads of snoopy information on people by like going into all like the databases, because the Shadow Broker knows like everything about everyone. And I remember just like going through like all these emails between like random people and like people that you know as well. And maybe I'm just very nosy in real life anyway, but I did enjoy it.
So I've not actually played the DLCs because when I originally played them, it was all on my Xbox 360, and the DLCs weren't included, so I had to buy them. So I only bought like one, which is the best one, but it's a third one for Mass Effect 3. So I keep meaning to play through on my Legendary Edition because I know all of this is included. So some of this is very new to me. I kind of know what happens in some of them because obviously you go through each game that kind of gets revealed anyway. But yeah, I keep meaning to play these because they look really interesting, especially the Liara one.
Yeah, that was my favorite of them for sure. And what's kind of cool with the Legendary Edition is you can also do these DLC kind of whenever. Like, they can seem like a side mission along the way if you play them at a certain point, kind of thing.
Nice.
Another one's called Overlord. This Dr. Archer sends you to a facility where a hostile AI has taken over. And basically, you find out that he melded the AI's mind with his brother who's handicapped, and it was real sad and difficult. I don't know if either of you played this one.
Yeah, I remember it being quite intense. I don't remember it as well as the other ones, but I do like it's coming sort of back to me in regards to being quite horrible.
Yeah, no, I've not done this one, but that sounds horrible.
Yeah, the reveal was like, oh, why is this happening? This is fucked up. Yeah, it's bad. And then the last DLC one that I want to highlight was called Arrival. And here you get sent to rescue Dr. Kenson by an admiral who's works for the council or whatever. And you go rescue her because they think that maybe the Reapers have her captured, but then you get there and you find out that she actually like believes in the Reapers and was like trying to bring the Reapers to take over the universe because she believed they were right and true. And you have to destroy a mass relay to kind of stop this. And because you do that, a bunch of people die destroying a mass relay. So it's pretty intense here. Also, this is a mission where you don't have squad members. You have to do it alone, which is weird.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Yeah, you missed your squad.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I wish I had my squad with me too. This one I ended up doing once I finished the game, so that was... after, but the other two I did kind of in the middle. But okay, so that's Mass Effect 2. We've gone through all this stuff, but I was curious, do you have other things kind of about Mass Effect 2 that you wanted to talk about that maybe we didn't get to along the way, or we didn't get to go as deep as you'd like? Anything like that?
I think just in general, like general comments about Mass Effect 2, I think rightly so, it's like seen as the best one, and I think it is the best one for me. It just feels like everything feels like we were saying about the story earlier, it feels like the story really has a lot of weight to it, and he kind of kicks up a gear, like you were more on collectors and stuff, you kind of are starting to real about these really big scary things that are happening. It feels like you get a lot of like consequences and actions, like obviously the suicide mission for some people can be like brutal and you lose like half your crew members and stuff like this, but like there are other points in time I think throughout the whole game where it just feels like really like weighty things. Like all the decisions you have to make in this one are quite difficult. Like there's the ones with like Morden that he has and those kind of things.
Very intense choices. Weighted decisions.
Yeah.
And I think although there were a few choices in the first one, this one definitely feels like there's a lot to consider.
Yeah, especially because you sometimes feel like you're just doing a bit of Cerberus stuff, but actually, most of the time, like all the loyalty missions and stuff, like just all have quite big consequences, which you don't really expect from almost side missions, essentially, because you could do the whole game without doing those. You have a terrible ending, but you could. So yeah, I think especially that one. And I also think I really enjoyed when I was playing through this for the first time, all the really subtle nods to the first one in terms of like tiny little side characters. It's like if you did a side quest for somebody, most of the time they would turn up in this just to talk to you for like 5 seconds. I remember this one lady outside of like, I think it's Liara's place. And she's like, oh, you helped me back in, doing this mission on saving this person for me. Great, thanks. You just have a little conversation with them. And it's just kind of nice that you have those little catch-ups.
Yeah, I think it's so nice when things carry through from the previous game. I think it's a really nice little kind of added extra.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of those little things for me.
Yeah, I do feel like those add a lot of those like little things carrying over. I'm really excited for when I play the third one to experience some of that here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know about you.
I would just say, like, just sort of generally, I think for me, like, one of the best things about it was just the strange kind of plot that happens from the very beginning, and the fact that you have to sort of like question your morality a little bit in working with the kind of bad guys. I thought that was a really interesting like sort of trope, and hasn't sort of really been done that much before, because I feel like in the first one you were kind of like Shepard was a bit of a hero to an extent, like a very sort of basic kind of hero trope, whereas in this one like things start to get questioned, people start to judge you, and I quite liked that weird little like side sort of plot twist almost. But as I've said before, just generally very sad because I didn't get my space boyfriend in Mass Effect 2. Thank you very much. So, that's... No. Otherwise, it's a great game, 10 out of 10, aside from that.
Yeah, aside from no Caden. I get Garrus, so I'm, like, ecstatic by this point, because I'm like, I get my space boyfriend, my alien man.
That's great. That, that's good. I do like, as you said, Nikki, just the, like, I don't know, the grayness feel of it, of you have to work with Cerberus. You're stuck in this sort of enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of thing, as opposed to like your I don't know, hero Shepard, who's like, I'm the first human Spectre and I'm like, hero for mankind, and then you just see it and be like, it's a bit darker now, it's a little more confusing. I agree, I like that a lot. I think too, for me, like, I think the suicide mission might be one of the best endings to a game I've played before. Like, that was awesome. And for me, personally, I'm glad I lost people along the way, just because it felt the weight of the mission for, like, the first time. This is a mission no one can come back from. And really, some people didn't for me, even ones I wanted to. Like Grunt. Like, I really felt like I want to stop playing the game because I lost one of my favorite characters, kind of thing, which I thought was good. I liked that happened. But I also know that if I go back and play again, I'm going to make sure the people I like make it, and, we can still lose the ones I don't care as much about. But, like, I think
like Game of
that's
Thrones.
cool.
Like, you can lose anyone at any time.
Yeah.
Just because it's, it's like Sean Bean. No one's safe. And I think that's a very cool like thing. It's just nobody is safe, and you can technically kill everyone if you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot, is that it really felt like no one was safe, because I wasn't sure, like, as it went, once, like, multiple characters got killed, I was like, man, if they kill Garrus, I'm gonna, like, really think about stopping. Like, I don't know if I want to play Mass Effect 3 without him, you know, like, that's, which is awesome. Like, it was cool that they did that. Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think my other thing is just I'm really excited to play Mass Effect 3 in the future now. After playing this, I'm really excited to carry over my characters into the next one. I'm excited to presumably meet new squad members, like all of that stuff. So,
Are you going to replay it so that you save more people, or are you going to go forward with the characters like that you've...
I think I'm going to go forward with the people who are dead being dead.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think you should redo it.
That's just for Grunt, right? Because you're just like, Grunt.
You lost a few. Let me just like recap quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Grunt is probably the one that I'm most sad that you've lost, just for future. But no spoilers or anything. But
okay.
Consider it.
I'll have to think about it then, because he's the one I would want the most. The other ones I like I would like more time with Jack, but I'm also okay with saving that for like if I play Mass Effect 2 again and go like a really positive Jack kind of thing, or that kind of thing. But Grunt's definitely the one who I miss the most. But apparently, I was looking too on this that you can actually have everyone die. Like I think Shepard can die in this game. What it seemed like. Like if you got to a spot where all your squad got killed, and then at the end, no one's left, and maybe even Shepard dies, which I don't know how that would work. Like. Because I don't think Cerberus would bring him back again, but I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, on a little chart I was reading said something like that, but it seems like you could actually lose everyone, which is pretty wild. Cool. Okay. Did either of you have any other things you wanted to talk about before kind of moving towards the end?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Awesome. So last up, we've got a little listener feedback to wrap us up. First up, we got Mai on Twitter, said, one of my favorite video games ever. Great cast of characters, interesting plot, fun gameplay. There is just one massive plot hole that's always bugged me, but otherwise, it's the best final mission ever in a game.
I want to know what that plot hole is.
I have heard people say about the plot holes, but...
There probably is.
Yeah.
Just can't remember it.
Yeah, I'd be curious what that is too. Mai, let us know. I would like to know what plot hole is that you see. Which maybe I would see it if I was paying attention, but I feel like I missed it at least. Then we've got Mike on Twitter who said succeeds because of rather than despite the rather meager main plot. BioWare knows that the characters and world building are the strength of the property, and they make basically the whole game recruit a team, get to know them, and then take them on the suicide mission. Mass Effect 2 has truly stellar cast of characters. However, some are handled better than others. Looking at you, Jacob. The elusive man is a great antagonist, patron, and the gameplay is probably the best in the series. The final fight has a bit of a low note and feels out of place. Swap out that boss fight for a throwdown with Harbinger, and the suicide mission would feel about perfect. The DLC characters, as fun as they are, struggle to justify their purpose on the ship. Katsumi in particular. If there was a part of the mission that merited having a master thief aboard, I didn't see it. It was nice having Zaid there, so there's at least one guy who's just a dick.
I guess that's the difficulty with DLC characters, though, because it's like you still need to have everything work without them. Because at the time it came out, like I said, I didn't get them because they were just like extra bits. I think they were added on later on, so yeah, I didn't really meet these guys ever.
Yeah, that is something that is tough with that, because like, you know how you can go around the Normandy and go and talk to people. With Kasumi and probably Zaid, if you go talk to them, they have a pretty low amount of what they'll say. They won't talk to you the same way that like Garrus or Miranda would.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is a tough spot. I agree for the DLC character. Adam on Twitter said Mass Effect 2 is still the peak of the series in my opinion. Most of the crew is great, and even the loyalty missions have some, and every loyalty mission has something interesting about it. The only real downside is the limited interactions with your squad. Each only has a few conversations, and it's way too easy to save everyone.
Shade.
Oh no.
Pogo on Twitter said amazing, but they take the main narration and fork it into a completely new direction. Then it's up to Mass Effect 3 to bring everything together. Also, the multiplayer was incredibly addictive. Did either of you play the multiplayer?
I don't think I ever played the multiplayer.
I only played it on the third one. I don't think I ever played it on the second one.
Okay, cool. I haven't played it either.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. I think there was multiplayer on the third one as well. If not,
There probably was.
yeah.
I just didn't. Again, it was like the time where I didn't have my console hooked up to internet because it wasn't really that
It was a
time.
bit of a novelty, I think, for me at the time, because I think when it came out at the time, like online gaming and sort of multiplayer didn't feel like a big thing for me back then.
Yeah, it was difficult and clunky kind of thing
Yeah.
in
That
that era.
that makes sense. Let's see. Justin on Twitter said, incredible. Best in the series, my most replayed game, makes my top 5 of all time. So, a lot of love. Total Nerd on Twitter said, one of my favorite games of all time. And then last up, we've got Nikki on Twitter who says, great game, massive improvement over the first one, even though the equipment management and traversal was better in Mass Effect 1, if you ask me. The gameplay got so much better, especially when playing Vanguard. Even though I like to see the trilogy as one big game and often talk myself out of the decision of picking my favorite of the trilogy, maybe Mass Effect 2 takes the tiny lead in that matter if I had to choose. Sadly, Kasumi and Zaid feel like wasted characters with the lacking dialogue. The DLC Overlord and Shadowbroker were great too. So many great characters and so many cool new characters and so many great returning favorites. It's just a good time, just like old times. So, really, a lot of love for Mass Effect 2 from everyone, which is great. I feel like it is very deserving of all of this love.
I agree.
Yeah. It's a good time. And I want to go replay it now. We've been talking
I was
about
going to
it.
say, now talking about it now, I'm like, I think my problem is I got the... Is it
Legendary.
Yeah. And I started playing through 1 and I fell off because
Same.
I remembered how much 1 kind of like it's easy to fall off of. And I need to keep at it so I can go to Mass Effect 2. But now I'm just thinking maybe I should just start Mass Effect 2.
This is exact my thinking when we've been doing this podcast. I'm like, maybe I'll just start Mass Effect 2 and just
Yeah.
pick my own things, and I can't be on to do 1 because, again, I fell off of 1.
1, I think the momentum, you get a lot of momentum loss with 1. 2, I feel like it really like it's very cinematic and it's very intense. Whereas 1, I think can kind of
Don't know. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It is really nice if you do just jump into 2. That's what I did. They just like go through like a 5-minute comic, an interactive comic, and they're like, when you had to leave someone, who did you leave? And you like choose, and I feel like it just jumps you right in. You do the quick comic, then you get Joker off the ship, and you're in, which was nice.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
maybe
if you do decide to do
Yeah.
it, it is nice. It does feel like you get rolling pretty fast, which I liked a lot. And I thought the comic was cool. It definitely looked cool how they did it, and I don't know, explained Mass Effect 1 in a good enough way, I feel like.
Yeah, that's cool. Because there is Mass Effect comics, aren't there? I've never read any of them, but you can get them.
Yeah, I haven't read them either, but that's awesome. Cool. Well, I think that's what we've got on Mass Effect 2, but again, thank you both for coming on. I'm really glad we got to talk Mass Effect. If people want to find you online, where should they go? All of that stuff.
Well, we pretty much have everything at our new website, game205.co.uk, or you can just follow us on Twitter, Instagram at game205, and
Awesome.
find stuff there, really.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'll also put links to their stuff in the notes here. Definitely go check their podcast out. I always look forward to new episodes and really like hearing their top 5s on things. It's a lot of fun. But if you want to hear more of our stuff, you can find us on our website, TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed.com. Our Twitter's at StoryEverPod. There's a backlog of our episodes on our website or wherever you get podcasts, all that stuff. Our Patreon is patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed. there for as little as $1 per month. You get a monthly bonus episode that talks about something topical, sometimes in video games, sometimes outside of. Or if you'd want to like rate and review us on iTunes or whatever, that would help a lot as well. And yeah, that's really what we got. So yeah, we will see you next time.